Hello, Tom LaVecchia here with a very special edition of the Armchair NBA. Want to say we're making a little bit of history today. I am interviewing my sixth inducted member into Cosa Nostra. Nobody has done it before. PVD's at 5, Lads at 5. So with the pleasure of having Sammy the Bull here today, we are at number 6. Quick shout out to our sponsor, JSV Capital. Loans without the broken bones when you need money for your business. So Sammy, welcome to the Armchair NBA. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. Pleasure to be here. I'm doing good.
God bless. All right, so we're going to jump right in. So what was your first interaction with Cosa Nostra growing up?
Oh, I mean, I lived in a neighborhood that was infested with Cosa Nostra every place you went. So from a little kid, I saw it, but I wasn't part of it. I was just growing up. I really didn't get involved with a family until I went in the military. When I was 19, I came out at 21 years old. I was back in the gang.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have nothing to do with the Mafia. And then at 23, I finally hooked up.
Okay. Now, we're going to talk about the evolution of Cosa Nostra, and we're going to focus a little bit more on the business side of things. At that time, we'll talk about your era, and we'll talk a little bit about now. But at that time, was it more about community? Was it really all about business, or a little bit of both at that time, Cosa Nostra?
Cosa Nostra is a secret society and a brotherhood. It's not about business. It's not about money. It's about our structure. And it has heritage. We go back to Italy. Yeah. We're in other countries. So it has nothing to do with money or business. Of course, everybody goes for money once they're in it. But correct. That's life. Everybody does that at every part of life. But it really had nothing to do with money.
Okay. So you mentioned your time in the Rampers in your show. Give me the difference between the brotherhood of being like in a gang like the Rampers versus being an inducted member in Cosa Nostra. What are the differences and similarities?
Well, being in a gang is very, very local. A couple of blocks, a small little neighborhood. Like I said, Cosa Nostra is worldwide. It's all over the place. No. It started in the 12th century, 13th century. It has history. And the difference is like night and day. And people in the neighborhood, if they knew that you were a made guy, it was like, wow, these guys are kings. You don't fuck with them. You don't play with them. It was a whole different world. There's a lot of rules and regulations in Cosa Nostra that we have to abide by. But it's a whole different life.
So your role as an associate, you talk a lot about that. How important is the role of an associate? And then let's talk a little bit about business, right? Whether it be your contractors, versus your employees or your made guys. But how important is the role of associate in the mob and also in people's businesses?
Well, in business, it has a lot of strength because when you go into business, especially construction with unions and stuff like that, you have the power of the entire mafia behind you.
Yeah.
It opens up a lot of doors. The mafia controls different guys in different families, control union people, delegates, and all kinds of people in all kinds of different places. I'll give you a quick example.
Yeah.
You open up a little pizzeria. You got to make good pizza, calzones, and you have to attract your little neighborhood people to come in and build a reputation.
Correct.
Now, if you're an associate under me, I say, listen, Tom just opened up a pizzeria. Take your wives, your friends, go over there and eat.
Yeah.
So now you're getting 50, 100 different kind of people coming in, not because you're a good business guy or the pizza's good, but because you're an associate with me. And so it does have effects on business and stuff like that. Those customers, maybe you would have never even got.
Good point.
So it gives you a step up.
Good point. So how did your life change after becoming a made man?
Well, I always had a little bit of a reputation growing up in the Rampers. I was always tough. I got in trouble a lot. So people knew who I was. But when I became a made member, now I never talked about it. You don't talk about these things, but they get out. People tend to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And the respect level goes through the roof. Let's say I went to a club, a little nightclub. Now, months before, I'm waiting online to get in. Now I go and I get on that same line. Bouncer sees me, goes inside. He says, "Hey, Sammy, the bull's on the line." And he comes out. "Bye, Sammy, come on with me. You don't have to wait online. And I got a spot for you in the VIP room."
Yeah.
Big difference. It's night and day, the difference.
It's like you're like a celebrity, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing is a celebrity. I mean, look at the movies. Godfather 1 and 2, Goodfellas, Casino, and on and on and on. And then look at the names: Lucky Luciano, Vito Genovese, Al Capone. Who don't know those names? They're legends. And Cosa Nostra in this country, we did a lot of things. We built cities.
Yeah.
We were in every industry you could possibly think of. So we were a powerhouse. And you know, when you're in that organization, not so much as even as an associate, it carries some weight. But when you become made, it's like a whole nother level. People know if you get into a fight with a made guy and you hit him or something, there's a good shot you're going to get killed.
Now I look at it this way, Sammy. I look at it like you were the number 2 guy in a $500 million organization, and that's in the 80s. That's in the 80s, 500 million, right? And I don't care what anybody says. I know people may like you, they may hate you. It requires a certain level of skill and prowess to get there. So when you took over, you were in the administration with Gotti Sr. What were some of the first moves you guys made? Because obviously you had a regime change and you came in. What were some of the first business moves, administrative moves you guys made at the time?
Well, the first thing that happened right after we took over and we started to structure is Frankie the Chico was killed. He was blown up in the car.
Yeah.
That was a major thing for us. A little bit before that, we took down the Gunzier and I became the acting Gunzier. Then I went up to the Gunzier, not acting official. And there's a difference between that.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of big moves. And we knew we were in a war. We had to try and get even for Frankie. And where did that come from? And there was massive things. And I ran, when DB ran the Teamsters Union, when he was killed, I was to take over that. John wanted me to take over that union, which I did.
Yeah.
So these were all big moves.
Now, what was the best decision you guys made? Again, you gotta get criticized. A 6-year run is a long run, especially when the feds are watching you guys. What is some of the best decisions you guys made at the time that was a game changer prior to the Castellano and even the Carlo Gambino era, in your opinion, that you guys made that was just not lights out?
Well, I don't know any one that really stands out.
Yeah.
We had an agenda and we made decisions every day dealing with our other families.
Yeah.
John is the boss. He's not really dealing with them unless it's a commission meeting. So I would go out dealing with other underbosses or concierges or people. Yeah. And we made a lot of, moves, whether it was business, whether it was Cosa Nostra, whether it was about making money or whether it was about somebody's life at stake. So there's all kinds of moves. None of them really stuck out to be, like a big thing.
How about the worst decision? What do you think, whether it be Gotti or administration decision? What was the worst decision you guys think made at the time?
Well, I think the worst decision that John made is he talked in that apartment, which was foolish. A maid guy had that apartment, old timer. He died.
Yeah.
His wife was an old woman. She had the apartment. Norman wasn't, that was his grandmother, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
So he would go up to her, give her a few dollars, tell her to go shopping. He had the key, and John would meet in that apartment. But it didn't take an Einstein. The FBI was listening. They had everything bugged. So when your voices disappeared, they know you went somewhere. And they investigated. And I think they even got a CI, a confidential informant, and told them they're going upstairs in that apartment. And they went in, and it took them quite a while because the old woman just stayed home all the time.
Yeah.
But one day she went out, they broke in, put a bug in a key spot. And I wasn't there. John and Frankie Lucasio talked, and he talked about everything, murders that we committed, everything under the sun. He was in a tirade. That was the worst thing. That was the end of us.
What was Gotti's leadership style? Was he a micromanager? Did he let you do your own thing? How can you describe his management and leadership style when he was a boss?
No, he thought he was a fucking movie star. I ran the things. He didn't understand business and unions. He was never in business, never in unions, never in. He was basically, you know, a gambler, a heavy gambler. When he was younger, way before, they used to rob trailers out of JFK, like you saw in Goodfellas. He did the same thing. He was in that neighborhood as well. Hijacking, stuff like that. That's what he was, more thuggerish. And that's what he did. And no businesses. There were so many things and so many times. Like, I'll give you an example. One time, Bobby Sasso ran the Teamsters, and he wanted him to do something. There was a strike, picketers around the street, and he came to me and I said, he said, stop it. I said, I can't, he can't stop it. He said, I'm telling you to tell him to stop. I said, bro, they're all the way into it. They almost won.
Yeah.
If he pulls the picketers and loses, he's not going to be the president of the union. They're going to know, the people are going to know that he sold us out. And we make a lot of money with him. He's good with us. We'd be cutting his throat. He'll do it if I tell him, but it's a tremendous fucking mistake. And we don't know who's going to run and win. So I think, so he didn't understand the structure, what you could do. He thought, I'm John Gotti. If I tell you to do it, you got to do it.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a little bit of a point he had to it, but he didn't understand the business end of it and what position he would put other people in when he talked. You know, you saw the way he walked around with $2,000 Brioni suits, $200 hand-painted ties. That's the furthest thing from Cosa Nostra. And now history showed he wrecked the whole thing with that style.
How was your leadership style? Because word on the street was you were tough, but you were fair. How was your, because obviously, let's be candid, you ran the show. So a lot more people dealt with you, dealt with the captains and so forth. How was your management style? How was your leadership style with the people, captains that reported to you?
Listen, I got along good. It's live and let live, let everybody make money. They got to pump up some of the, you know, earnings that they make on different things. Here's the agents, the FBI agents, Frank and Maddie, they called them the twins. They were assigned to me to watch me all the time.
Yeah.
And they said one day, it was a pleasure to watch Sammy. The guy was the underboss. He'd come out in jeans, sneakers, go in the schoolyard with kids, 16, 15, 17, and play handball with them.
Yeah.
We always said, you know, and John Gotti's walking around with the pinky ring, the diamonds, and the cigar and all that bullshit. Me, I was taught and I grew up, it's a secret society. We're not supposed to do those things. I knew that things that Carlo Gambino did, my Tato, my mentor, this was totally against Cosa Nostra. You got to be quiet.
Yeah. At that time, though, you guys had New York and arguably a lot of the U.S. in the palm of your hands, right? And I know you're a smart guy. You see things. When did you start to see the first cracks? You know, like you took over, you're there. Where you're like, when did you start seeing the cracks? Obviously, the suits and that kind of stuff is one part of it. But what was the first crack you saw where you kind of said to yourself, you said, I'm not sure this is going to work out too well?
It was definitely the flash he was putting on. The news media was wrapped around us. The FBI was wrapped around us. And he had that. He did that. If he didn't live like that, they wouldn't be there. Maybe one or two, but not the group that was around us.
Yeah.
One. Two, he ordered all the captains, most of the main guys, to come down to Mulberry Street to see him. Now, when they came down and they were squawking, the FBI even said it. They were filming. They got guys they never even knew were in Cosa Nostra, made guys. Now they had their names, their plates, their this, their that, and they were all, that was another tremendous. He put it on, he gave it to them on a silver platter,
Jesus.
and everybody was recognized. They made these charts, and after a while, they investigated everybody they saw there and found out this guy's a made guy, this guy's a captain. He gave it to them on silver platter. So they, and I knew that was wrong. Everybody did, but you couldn't change his mind. He wanted to do what he wanted to do, and you can't argue with the boss.
Well, it's interesting because good leaders accept feedback, and I can't imagine you were good with it, but you're right. The boss is the boss. How about business owners, right? Talk a little bit about business. How can they start to see cracks in their business? Obviously, a little different than a mob, but what do you look out for? Or you're in business now, you're doing media. What do you look out for now, being in the life, but now being in legitimate life? What are some things to look out for when you're running a business to make sure those cracks don't happen?
Listen, I always said this. Don't look at who you are and what you say.
Yeah.
Look at who you're not. I'm
Yeah.
not a tech guy. I'm not a camera guy.
Yeah.
So I think everybody in their business has to watch and put a good team around them, no matter what kind of business. It doesn't really matter whether it's construction, Hollywood, whatever you do. You
Yeah.
need good people around you, smart,
Correct.
intelligent people. And you got to watch that. You got to watch that. When you come in the morning, a lot of people, they'll go pray, and they should.
Yeah.
But right after you're done praying, you should go to that corporate paper. I got a corporate paper on the wall, and do the sign of the cross and pray to that. Take care of that corporation. That corporation will take care of you.
Yeah,
So that's got to be your first goal. That corporation, some people get money, they pull it out, fancy cars, this, that, and that. You got to keep money in a business to expand, to do certain things. Somebody comes over with a great business offering, and now you don't have a lot of money in the bank, so you say no. But if you have money in the bank, you could expand, you could make that investment, you could lose money. So taking care of your business and your team, the people around you, and watching that. If your team ain't right, that could crush you in business faster than an opponent, somebody who's in the same business. And you can, that happens all the time. But your team is very, very important in the street or in business.
Now, you obviously felt some level of betrayal from the organization, so you decided to cooperate and collaborate with the government. In your opinion, how much of that was business or how much of that was personal, in your opinion, Sammy?
I don't understand the question.
So like when you decided to collaborate with the government, how much of it was business, meaning, you know what, this guy screwed me, I don't care for him, and this is just business, I'm gonna, do what I gotta do? Or was it more personal because you felt like he put you at risk, you put your family at risk? Like how much of it was business and how much of it was personal, in your opinion?
No, Cosa Nostra, to me, everything is personal. Business is bullshit. It's a business.
Yeah.
They come and go.
Yeah.
You could have a pizzeria for 2-3 years, and you could have a car. If you're making money, you could own a car dealership 5 years later. It's a whole different business. So businesses just come and go. Cosa Nostra is, there's one way in and there's one way out. When you come in, you walk in. When you go out feet first, dead. So Cosa Nostra is the priority for me all the time.
So
of course, I take care of my business as well, but
yeah, got it. That actually makes great sense. And if Cosa Nostra betrays you or whatever, who represents Cosa Nostra, then obviously you got to do what you got to do. For people that work for somebody that you said let the corporation take care of you, when should you separate from an organization? What, you saw it in the street, you ran, again, $500 million a year organization. Obviously in that business, you couldn't really separate, couldn't really quit. But in business, when should people watching that work for other people, when should they separate from an organization?
well, again, the question is, you separate from an organization, you're talking about a business that has no scruples, no morals, no fucking oath that you take. It's totally different
Yeah.
Cosa Nostra. You can't. I just told you can't separate Cosa Nostra from you.
Yeah.
Once you take that oath, you got it for the rest of your life. But a business, they come and go. So there's no, the two of them are not in the same row. One's apples and one's oranges.
Good point. And the similarities in terms of, I think PBD said to you guys, people leave their boss, not their organization. So I thought that was pretty interesting when he said that in the sit down. When you were in Arizona, you ran legitimate businesses, right? Is business the same, illegal or illegal? And you being in the LCN prior, you said earlier there's benefits, but when you ran legal businesses, right? Did your LCN training, your street training, make you a better and more successful businessman in the legitimate realm?
I think so, because I've dealt with so many sit downs, so many different people, so many different problems. So I learned business in a street level. People go to school, go to Harvard, go to they're very smart.
Yeah.
But they look at businesses in a certain way. I give you an example. One guy said, this real smart guy, corporate guy, he pulls up in a limo, he gets out, they put out a ladder. They're going to buy a place where they're going to build houses. Goes up on the ladder. He looks at the forest on the top, all the trees and everything. Looks on the side a little bit, gets back in his car, goes home, and he's going to talk to his corporation about buying this. We could figure. Now he's looking at the blueprints. We could fit all these things there. It says Sammy does the same exact thing with that ladder. The only thing is when Sammy gets down from that ladder, he gets on his hands and knees and crawls in there. He walks in the forest and he looks all over. He'll see a little creek running down. He's smart enough to know you can't damage that creek. So,
Hold on. Oh, keep going, Sammy. Sorry.
No, that was it. Basically, I see a big white thing on the screen.
It
Rich.
popped up. It came up. We're good. So,
All
all right. So that makes sense. So the devil's in the details. Now, obviously, I think Gotti was pretty quick to get rid of people. I think, you may or may not agree with that. How about for your company? Should you give people a chance, or should you kind of get rid of them pretty quickly when they don't do the right thing? Or do you believe in people giving maybe a 3-strike rule? How do you kind of manage your company that way now?
I give everybody a chance.
Okay.
If they're doing something wrong, I'll sit down with them and I'll tell them, unless they're just complete, we're asshole, and I'll get rid of them. But if they're good people, they have problems, they have this, and I will talk to them, you have a job here, you make an X amount of dollars. I like you. I like what you're doing. The money end of it could go up. You could have a career here.
Yeah.
You could, and I always do that first to
Okay.
see if you could change what they're doing. Let's say that person's coming in late all the time.
Yeah.
I deal with that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't care if you come in late once in a while, but if it becomes every day and there's another excuse, and after a while, I think you're lying to me because you're making up some of these excuses. And once I think you're lying to me, I'm going to get rid of you because I can't trust you. Loyalty to me, whether it's Cosa Nostra or business, is super important. If they have a career and they can make money with you, and you treat them real good, they'll have loyalty and they'll fight for this company just as hard, if not harder than you. It becomes personal to them.
Yeah.
I put my team in all meetings, just about all meetings that I have, even meetings that they don't fit, a lawyer's legal meeting. And so they can listen, they can see some of the problems I have, they can understand it. And so it's really important, your employees and your team. See, like me, I don't even say I have employees. Everybody's my cleaning woman is a part of my team.
Yeah.
I don't look at anybody as an employee. So and then, if I'm going to branch off and do something a little special and that employee is going to, handle that for me and they're making whatever, 1,000 a week. And so I'll tell them, okay, handle this. And when we do this, I'm going to give you a little piece, a small percentage of this, if it works.
Yeah.
Now they work like crazy because they got their base pay of 1,000.
Then you
They
go,
may make 1,000, 1,500 on that piece of it. So they're glued to that. And they're real happy that you're not taking it all. Employees, teams, if you're making a lot of money and you're doing well and you're very fancy and you take out the money, big house, cars, this, that, and the other thing, they'll resent you that you give them nothing. And they're not stupid. They know what they're doing. I have part of my team, Zaza, she's very important to me. She never, ever asked for overtime. She can be there, she works 9 to 5. She could be there 5:30, 6 o'clock. I went to Napa Valley to do that Mafia States of America. She came with my whole team. They're there 24 hours a day for 3 days. Nobody asked for overtime. I went to Florida with her to meet Patrick and a few things. We were there, I think, 3 days, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Never asked for nothing.
wow.
Patrick said he wanted me to do an interview with a heavyweight. And I told her, you know what? Now we're stuck here another day. You can go home. We had the flight.
Yeah.
I'll wait another day and come home. She said, no.
Wow.
I said, why? She said, I'm not leaving you here alone. And you don't know tech. I take the notes. I'll stay. Now that's loyalty. She's a young girl. She's got a boyfriend. She's got a life.
Yeah.
She didn't even hesitate to do that. So you have to make them that. If you take it all down or you're abusive, I've seen go into corporations and people, Mr. So-and-so, would you like a cup of coffee? And now, if somebody came to me and said, Mr. Gravano, would you like a cup of coffee? I would say, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm Sammy. What are you calling me Mr. Gravano for? So I don't wear my high hat in there. Never. We laugh, we joke. And every once in a while, we'll go out to dinner together. I'll tell them, what are you doing tonight? Maybe 1 or 2 different people. If they're not doing nothing, and we'll go to dinner with them.
Yeah.
Be human with them. Treat them like your family.
Yep.
They're not employees. And if you do that, they'll be offered a better job, more money. They'll go. They don't owe you nothing.
Yeah.
I don't think you could offer some of my people more money than they're making. I don't think they'll leave. So let's say somebody's making $30 an hour.
Yeah.
If you offered them $35 an hour, I don't think they would leave. And here's why.
Yeah.
The environment they're working in, they know they got a steady job. They know they could have a career, and they're happy with the whole thing. Not only me, but the other. When you do that, everybody on the team gets happy, and they all joke and laugh and whatever. So you have to create that environment.
That's some great advice. Yeah, I mean, that's
Now, remember one thing, that I am a gangster. Now, if you open up a business on my advice and it's successful, I want a piece.
you get royalties. Sammy, whether in business or personal, you had a long journey. What's your biggest regret? Could be business, could be personal. What's your biggest regret?
Like anybody else, I have a lot of regrets, different things that happened. But I think I was fair in what I did.
Yeah.
I think I protected Cosa Nostra. That was my job. And I don't have as many regrets as people think. Now, I hear some guys saying, oh, I always regret this and I regret that, because they know the media or people want to hear that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, but there's a lot of things that happened in my life, and some things I regret. I had a great wife, ex-wife now. I think part of my family.
Yeah.
All good people.
Yes. Most
of them, not all, but I had good people around me. Some could have not been there. There's a regret with 1 or 2. They betray you or they do something. So I don't know. I have regrets. I had a couple of serious romances in my life with women. I love women. And I don't mean just
Yeah.
you know, going to a strip club or bang a hooker or something like that. I mean, I love women. Romance wise, I have a lot of feelings towards women, have a lot of respect for women.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things, I mean, in my life that I've enjoyed. I had a rough path.
Yeah.
All of what I did gave me a rough life. I did 22 years in prisons. I'm involved in 19 murders. I didn't kill 19 people, but I'm involved in it. If you're up on top and you're given an order or you're part of listening to that and it's going to happen, you're part of you're indicted for that. So, and I'm in 3 mafia wars. So it was a rough life.
What does a Sammy today say to a 21-year-old Sammy? If you had about a half hour to talk to a 21-year-old Sammy, not even a half hour, you can get it 3 minutes. What do you say to a 21-year-old Sammy?
I would tell him, be careful what you're going to do. I would tell him exactly what I said. I got 22 years in prisons. You're going to kill your friend or they're going to kill you. That's Cosa Nostra. You might be involved in mafia wars. You may have problems at home with your family. When you are legitimate, you don't need Cosa Nostra. You don't need that in life. Focus on legitimate business or a legitimate job. You know, there's no harm in working hard, making money. There's a lot of rewards. One of the biggest ones is not going to prison.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen to you if you go 21-year-old Sammy. That's your path.
Yeah.
That's there. This time around, you might not even make it. You may get shot in the back of the head. And that's the life. You want to choose it? That's what you're looking at. And 99%, if you're a tough guy and you're going to grow in stature, it's going to happen. The news media, the government, you're a target for all of them.
Now, you were mentored by one of the best, Tato. And I'm sorry, but like mentorship nowadays is fucked. You offer mentorship for people, they don't want to take it. There's guys that offer mentorship, they want to get paid. But you had one of the best of the best. You know, what are some of the core principles that Tato taught you that to this day you still share with your team and as a mentor, you know, to other people now? What are some of those principles that Tato taught you?
He taught me a lot of principles. One of them was we use violence as a last resort. That stuck with me.
Yeah.
One of the best ones I think he told me in life, when you hear, if you're sitting in a position like me in my chair, and you're going to make decisions on people's lives.
Yeah.
Listen to everything with 2 ears. That's why God gave you 2 ears. Listen to one story, listen to the other one. Someplace if they have 2 different stories, someplace there's the truth. Now, it doesn't mean that one person is lying, actually, because we look at things differently. There's an investigation. A bunch of people saw a murder. They'll question 25 people. They'll hear 17, 18 different stories that don't match. So you turn around and say, what the hell are they looking at? It's the way the mind perceives what they saw. They might have been scared, whatever. You don't know. So it's not necessarily, and I'll give you one story.
Yeah.
When I was young, he said, come and sit in the backyard with me. I got somebody coming in. Don't say a word, just listen.
Yeah.
A guy came in and he talked about his friend hitting on his wife and all this stuff and whatever. And he said, don't do nothing, I'll get back to you. And he left. So he told me, Sue, what would you do if you were me? I said, I'd get a couple of thugs like me and go give this guy a good fucking beating. He said, good. I know you got balls. He said, but now I know you're stupid. And I love the guy. I was sick when he said that. But anyway, The next day, he had the other guy come down. And a totally different story. Not totally, but different. The way he complimented the guy's wife. They're friends. He complimented her. She was a beautiful woman. He was complimenting her. He really wasn't hitting on her, but I don't know. So he asked me the second day, what would you do now? And I have no idea. So I don't, somebody's lying or exaggerating. I don't know. He called the two of them down on the third day together, made them talk. The both of them were friends for so many years. They had tears in their eyes. And the guy realized that he was complimenting the wife. He loved him and he loved his wife and his kids, but he loved her as a friend's wife. He didn't love her to go to bed with her. He wasn't hitting on her. And the wife even said, he didn't say anything like that. They hugged, kissed, walked away, friends. It was over. Tato turned around to me and said, you would have hurt that guy for nothing. Those things on the side of your head. Listen to both sides. You got plenty of time for violence.
Yeah.
We do violence, but as a last resort. And if you do act like this in life, you'll hurt less people and you won't make a mistake. Somebody's got to go. They've done so much wrong that you're compelled to do it. But we want to be careful with the violence stuff. And he was, I remember all of those things. See, when I was there, he ordered me, because I transferred from the Colombo family, they transferred me over to the Gambinos.
Yeah.
And he told me, I want you here every single day. And he would talk to me and he would smooth with me. Now he was much older than me.
Yeah.
So he was talking about his friends.
Yeah.
Who was his friends? Lucky Luciano, Vito Genovese, Al Capone, all these people.
Jesus.
As a kid, I was stunned.
Yeah.
Because to me, they were legends.
Yeah.
So I said, oh my God, listen to these stories. It's crazy. And I learned a lot through him. He's very, very smart. Not book smart,
Yeah.
but common sense and street smart. Now, I don't know if they have a course in college, common sense.
Mhm.
I don't think you can learn that. You have to live for a while to get common sense. I see what's going on in the country now.
Oh, God, yeah.
And just common sense dictates what's going on. And then time gives you wisdom,
True.
because you've seen so many things in your life. When you're 16, 20, 21, a boy or a girl, the fuck do they know? They don't know what planet they're on. Everything's party, game, this, that, and the other thing. But as they get older, they get wisdom because they saw so many things. And that gives them wisdom if they're paying attention to everything. So
Wow.
that's my Tato, and I love him
So,
till today.
one last question on him, and we're wrapping up, so I got a few more questions. But the Tato, how did it feel taking over his crew when he stepped down, and then you took over, and you protected him as well? I can't imagine that had been emotional. He was your mentor. You loved him as a mentor, as a father, and then you took over kind of his crew, which was a very powerful crew in the Gambino family. How did that feel, Sammy?
That was one of the highlights of my life.
Yeah.
Because I didn't ask for his crew. I was going to be made a captain. When he went in and stepped down, he asked John Gotti and Frankie DeChico, I would like to step down, and I would like Sammy to take over my crew. They agreed, and they said, do you want to be with us, the administration, the boss and under boss and Gonzalez? He said, no, I want to be under Sammy.
Wow.
So doing those two things not only made me a captain, I was making a captain anyway, but taking his crew and then wanting to be with me was just an honor. And I had my club, and I would tell his son, Charlie, boy, he was a made guy, take your father down. Then we had a big long table in Tallies. I would sit at the head of the table, and guys would eat on a Tuesday. We would get together. So he would come. And as soon as he came in, I got up from And I told him, you sit here. No, Sammy, you're the boy. No. Sit here. You sit at the head of the table. You're my man. And I try to show him respect in every way humanly possible. If he was going to come, I would tell Charlie, go pick him up. Because he got, he was up in age.
Yeah.
And I wanted to treat him like a king, like he was my father.
God bless. Sammy, if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Sammy, Joe Peruta, and Frankie DeChico.
Wow. So all former associates of yours. Wow. No Jesus?
No. I'll sit with him after that. I'm still alive. I don't want to sit with him right away.
Good point. So, Sam, this was a special interview. Like I said, we're making history today. The 6th inducted member on the show. Happy to finally meet you. I've spent many hours and time with your daughter. She's always spoke highly of you. You did well raising her. You don't always have to be there to raise her, and she did very well for herself. You should be proud as a father. I think that's the most important role in life. I think you will agree. And you also get a lot of questions, right? So I guess I want to conclude. Is there a question that I didn't ask that you wish I did?
What are you going to do now? We know what you're doing in social media. Do you have anything planned?
That's great. Yeah, meaning me or you?
No, you telling me that.
Correct.
So if you ask that question, I would say SammyTheBull.com for $3 a month or $30 for the whole year. We're putting together all kinds of content. Our podcast is going to be on that. You'll hear it without commercials. We're making shorts being little tiny movies.
Nice.
And they're going to be crazy. I mean, we're working on that now. We're getting closer and closer to it. We're working on all kinds of content on it. So that's the question you could ask me, and I would pump myself up, would say it's.
We're gonna put some links below. We're gonna put the Sammy the Bull. Maybe we'll do a little contest. If in the comments below, comment what you think of the interview. I'm gonna pick 5 different people, and we're gonna buy you a year subscription for 5 people. So I want them to check out Sammy's story. Just put a comment below, good, bad, or ugly. I'll pick 5 people, and we're gonna give away 5 on the show. One last question before we wrap up, Sammy. A lot of guys coming out now doing podcasts, in the life, not in the life. You and Francis, blaze the trail. Some of these guys are kind of coming for you. Where do you kind of land on that without, what are your thoughts?
Well, in SammyTheBull.com, we're going to open up the bullpen. And I'm going to talk about everything that's going on now in the country. It's a Mafia news station. How the Mafia looks at things, how I look at things. And we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to also talk about these people on YouTube who are so-called Mafia guys. And they just run around bashing each other and doing certain things. So I'm going to talk about them too. I'm not going to get in the mud and go back and forth with them, but I'm going to talk about them.
Yeah.
Then they could badmouth me. They could do whatever they want. I could care less. But I'm going to talk about that too, because the way the country has changed, so did the Mafia. And now on YouTube, I mean, some of these guys, they don't even have a clue what the Mafia is. And most of the stories, or a lot of the stories, are fake. And I know it. It just annoys me sometimes, but I don't want to get in the middle of a battle.
Yeah.
But I might do it on Sammy the Bull. It's my platform.
Yeah.
It's private. I can say what I want. So I may get into that and talk about that as well as the politics of the country. I call it the YouTube Mafia Wars.
Love it.
They're all bad about each other.
Well, check out SammyTheBull.com. I'm going to put a links below. Comment below. I'm going to pick 5 people randomly to get 5 subscriptions to Sammy's show. Sammy, I appreciate it. It's been an honor. Thank you for being on the Armchair MBA. I'll give you the final word, sir.
All right. Listen, I wish you luck with your podcast. I hope, it goes. You're a smart guy. You're a good guy. And that's just what Ramona, my daughter, said. And that's why I'm here. So good luck to you, pal.
Thank you, buddy. Be well, Sammy. Have a good one.
All right. Bye.